WESAK full moon preparation. On Monday is part 1, then Wednesday part 2. This is part 3. We're going through, just very quickly as a reminder, the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. And if you just joined us, we have those 2 sessions still online. And just in case you're new, the WESAK full moon is the most powerful full moon of the year. It commemorates the birth, death, and enlightenment of the Buddha. And even if you're not Buddhist, energetically, that's where massive amounts of energy pouring down to the earth. So what we try to do is help as many people as possible to participate in it, actively participate, because some of you are participating, your soul is participating, you're just not conscious about it. But more than anything, so by being aware of this powerful event, number 1, let's start with, so you'll have less problems. See, so much energy coming in, everything's get magnified. As the example we always use, if you throw fertilizer in the ground, the flowers, the fruits, and the weeds grow quickly. And that's why you'll notice during the full moon, people who are normally calm, they get a little easily agitated because the positive and negative are both being stirred up. It just so happened that this time, a lot is being stirred up. So if you properly prepare for it, what will happen is, we get to clean out a lot of the unwholesome energies that we have, so that when the energy comes in, we can focus on amplifying the good stuff. I mean, that's the simplified way of explaining it. So went through the Four Noble Truths, just a review. Essentially what the Buddha said is every year, before he left the body, he says every year these teachings have to be told to humanity again because people forget. So Four Noble Truths. Noble Truth number 1, there is suffering in life. Not that all is suffering. There is suffering in life, or the presence of suffering. Noble Truth number 2, what are the causes of this suffering? Number 1, unwholesome, unregulated, excessive desire. Not just desire by itself, but it has to be unwholesome, like taking illegal drugs, or smoking, or gambling, things that are unwholesome. And then you make it excessive and unregulated. You guys remember that? I covered that in the last 2 sessions, where you can have something that is wholesome. Let's say you want to be of service to others. That's wholesome. But if it becomes unregulated and excessive, you start neglecting your health, neglecting your finances, neglecting your family, because you want to go up and feed all these hungry people. That becomes a cause of suffering. And the second reason for suffering, or cause of suffering, is the unrealistic expectation that everything will be permanent, that things won't change. And specifically, the suffering that we get the most is unrealistic expectation that positive events, positive things happening will be permanent, or favorable events will be permanent. That's the number 1 cause right there. Because when you expect things to be doing the way it's supposed to be, and they don't turn out the way we want it to be, there's suffering. But you also have to look at it this way. It also means that unfavorable events will also not be permanent. So the key here is understanding that both positive and negative events will be impermanent. So being attached to either one will cause suffering. Noble Truth number 3, this suffering can end. And the easiest way to understand it is suffering is the ailment. What are the origins of this suffering, or this ailment called suffering? And this suffering, this ailment, can be cured. And Noble Truth number 4 is the medicine. How do you cure it? Now, as a reminder, Noble Truth number 3, the important part to remember is how fast does the suffering end? It's just like somebody has a fever or somebody has some ailment. True, it can be cured, but the body will heal itself. How long does it take? So, Noble Truth number 3 teaches us there is a choice whether you extend the suffering or you cut the suffering short. And it depends substantially on our response to it. An example we always use is somebody hurt your feelings, somebody scream and yell at you. So if you sit there and, this person's angry, it's a jerk, and you're angry with them, and you don't forgive them, next day, you hold on to that anger and pain, you tell the people around you, A week later, you're still talking about it. It's still in your conscience. You're still holding on to it. So you just stretch your suffering. What if you said, maybe the reason this person was not kind to me, maybe he had a bad day, maybe he's under medication, maybe he forgot his medication, or maybe he had a fight with his spouse, or he lost his job, or maybe this is a lesson that I have not learned, that the higher beings are using this dude as a way to remind me that, hey, I still haven't learned anything. He could be a mirror for me. In other words, as you start dissecting and looking at these things, you go, anyway, it could be any of these, so forgive, let go, move on. Guess what happened? The second you do that, the suffering comes to a screeching halt. Compared to, man, that guy, he pissed me off, and you stretch it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, guess what? You just stretch your suffering. So it's summarized as pain happens because we cannot control everything outside of the I, but we can control our response to it. So we approach it properly, suffering ends. We don't approach it properly, we stretch it, suffering continues. And the last part, which is fourth noble truth, is how to end that suffering. In other words, the element is the suffering. These are the origins or the causes of the suffering. Hey, we can end it, just do it quickly. And the last part is, what is the medicine? So I hope that helps. I did it as fast as I could. Now, the Eightfold Path is the medicine. Now, personally, this is just my opinion. I look at the Eightfold Path as a user's manual for the soul. People always tell us, they always say, I came into this world, nobody gave us a user's manual, we have to learn things on our own. That's really not true, because we have many teachers that try to teach us, or at least we try to learn from them. But short, succinct, in a step-by-step formula, in my opinion, Eightfold Path. Number 1, right viewpoint. Number 2, right thinking or right thought. Number 3, right speech, right action, right lifestyle or livelihood, right spiritual effort or right effort and exertion, right awareness, right oneness. We went through all the way from right viewpoint to right action. Quick reminder, you go, man, you're nagging me. How come you're repeating it? Hey, when the teacher was telling us about this, I said, tell me more. Again, because sometimes, you need a little bit of reminding. The most important part of all of this is the first one, right viewpoint. Some translation says right view, right knowledge, or right understanding. All of them point to the same thing. Situational awareness. You have to see what's going on to see things clearly. If your perception of what's going on is wrong, then you would not know how to think, how to speak, how to act, and everything else go down the toilet. True? If you look at the situation incorrectly, you're interpreting, the interest rates are going up, the prices are going down. So based on this, I conclude that I should spend all my money and buy everything because that's a good thing to do. If that's your perception, what happens? You're thinking the wrong way. You'll be talking the wrong way. You'll be doing something wrong. So the perception, number 1, is the most important. And to review what we covered, the number 1 viewpoint compared to anything else that we need to get set straight. Because from here, if you get this one wrong, the rest don't mean anything. Who am I? What am I? Where do I come from? It starts from, who am I? I am a spiritual being having an earthly experience. The I is the soul, the spiritual self. That is the most important part. Because if we get that wrong, if we think we're the physical sensations of the body, we think we're how we're feeling emotionally, how we're thinking, if that's the I, that's that. That means if things are doing great, you'll think positively. You'll say the right things. You'll do things, in a very positive and uplifting way. If somehow you're not feeling that great, for whatever reason, because you cannot control everything, right? But you think the I is the feeling, that's why when people say, just do what you feel like, I go, yeah, that's a sure path to disaster. Because sometimes you're feeling great, sometimes you're feeling not. So if the I is the emotions, and it happened to be that day, for whatever reason, you fell out of bed or whatever cockamamie reason is you're feeling not great, you start thinking negatively that day, you start being nasty to people with your mouth, and you do stupid things with your hands and your actions, and lifestyle, everything just cascades downwards. Make sense? So the most important part is I am the soul, the body, the emotions and thoughts are simply my instruments to function in this earthly life. I control them, they don't control me. These are not I. I am the initiator, I'm the mover, feeler, and thinker. Okay, I hope that helps kind of review right viewpoint. So once you have that down, and we have to keep reminding ourselves because things happen and we get pulled in different directions, then I'm the spiritual self. Next part, right thinking. So I decide how I create the thoughts I want, what thoughts I create. We covered that already, so you can review it. And then from there, when you say right thoughts, oftentimes right thoughts include thoughts and feelings. From there, it will dictate what comes out of our mouth, and then from right speech to right action. If you combine continuously right viewpoint, seeing things clearly, thinking properly, saying things properly, acting properly, you do this over and over again, you have right lifestyle. Repeated thoughts and feelings manifest as habits. Repeated habits manifest as virtues or vices. Repeated practice of virtues or vices, dumb things we do, manifest as our lifestyle. So, man, that was a quick 15-minute condensation of Four Noble Truth and Eightfold Path number 1 to number 5. Now we go to Noble Path number 6, 7, and 8. Now, here, different books have different translations, so I'll do my best to kind of encapsulate for you and give you a different version. They all point to the same thing. So number 6 is right spiritual effort or right exertion. This is connected to the virtue of constancy of aim and effort and non-laziness. Or my version is non-lazy assness. As most of you know, if you've been following me for a few years, this is my favorite virtue. Move your ass. You know why? Before I met my teacher, I was probably, what's the joke? I put the pro in procrastination. I remember growing up, my mother would, every time we go out to meet family, this is one of these Chinese family traits. If you're Asian, you know this. Instead of saying, hey, my son is smart, they would sometimes say, this kid, he doesn't behave. She would actually go like this. This kid procrastinates so much, he will only build a toilet and when he's ready to go poop. Thanks, Mom. I'm not kidding. That's what it was. So before I met my teacher, I would dilly-dally and drag everything. Then when I met my teacher, he was strict. He would ask me always the question, when is this going to get done? I said, I'm taking my time. Nope. So right effort means many things. We'll just kind of point to a few things here. Number 1, right effort means not having too many objectives. You have one target or objective for your spiritual path, one main objective for your health, for your relationships, your finances. If you want to do too many things, good luck. As they say in the ancient Chinese proverb, you try to catch more than one rabbit, you catch 0. You don't catch any. When you try to be jack of all trades, you heard the saying, jack of all trades, master of none? Nothing gets done. So oftentimes we say, hey, we want to learn everything so we can do something. Anybody been there? Let me read this book, let me learn this modality, learn this. So from there, I will come up with what I need. If you don't have an objective yet, what happens is you get sucked into so many different things, you lose track of your objective or your target. I'll give you a very simple example. I know it's kind of crude example, but it reminds me, every time I talk about the virtue of constancy of aim and effort, this comes to mind. My teacher, Master Chokoksi, was coming to the United States to teach, the more advanced classes. And we're preparing the venue, it's helping set up sound system, lighting, so on, so on, so on. And one of the volunteers had back pain. Okay? So, from pulling a muscle or something. So I asked one of the other volunteers who was helping, hey, could you please help him out? Just, it's very minor. It just happened. Simple sweeping, energizing. That should be able to help him. So after I said it, she goes, yes. Okay. So I went about my business, continually doing the setup. About 10 minutes later, I look, the guy in pain is still in pain. And I was looking at the person who agreed to do healing on him, standing there. I'm going, okay. I said, whatever her name is, I'm not going to tell you, because some of you know her. I thought, I asked you, you said, yes, you're going to work on him. You know what she said? She's like this. I kid you not. I know 27 healing modalities, and I have not decided, I'm not sure which one to use on him. You know what I said? I know one. Come over. Less than 5 minutes, how do you feel? Oh, no pain. Okay, let's go. No pain. It's not like you're trying to cure an incurable disease. It's a freaking back pain that somebody pulled a muscle, the energy is blocked, sweep it off, energize. Even any of you, I could teach you in 10 minutes, make that person feel better. And this person's like overanalyzing. You get that point? Know so many darn things, completely useless. One of the traits of successful people in any field, you know what it is? One-pointedness. To the extent that people who don't understand them call them obsessed. Sounds familiar? Think about it. When you're working on your thesis, when you're working on trying to win this guy or win this girl, when you're trying to really pass this exam, anything that you're focused on, what happens? You set everything aside, you eat, drink, sleep, that target. You want to be successful in anything? That's how you do it. You want to improve your health. Okay, joining a gym, that's first step. Number 2, did you show up? Some people have this perception, and I kid you not, most of you know this. It's January, New Year's resolution, I'm going to join the gym. Okay, that's good. That's one step. The question is, do you show up? How many times do you show up? It's not only constancy of aim. Aim is like target. Effort has to follow behind it. That's for your health. Are you persevering? There's something about having a target, but there has to be what? Perseverance. Because if you don't have perseverance, people give up. Your spiritual path. Who are you? Well, I'm going to start meditating. That's good. As the saying goes, success only happens when you start. Okay, you start. Question is, how often? Did you give yourself a schedule? Are you pushing yourself to stay with that schedule? So this affects every part of our life. So spiritual exertion or effort, right effort, means having a target and not giving up until you hit it. So write this down. This is part of when we did the 7-day purification. You've heard me say this already. If you want to be successful in anything, you just need to ask 4 questions. Once you answer them, you're on your way. Number 1, what is your objective? What is your target? Qualify and quantify. What do most people say? Oh, I want to make more money. I remember somebody said that to Tony Robbins. He goes, oh, you want to make more money? Okay. This month you make $1 more than last month. Are you happy? No. Well, you just said more money. More is just $1 more than last month. You have to qualify and quantify. Not only make more money, how much money? Oh, you want better health. What does that mean? Better sleep. How much better? Losing weight. Better blood test showing your markers are better. Qualify and quantify. What? Second one, why? Why do you want it? The why part is connected to motivation. Because when on your way to the target, whether you like it or not, nobody's going to roll the red carpet for you. Besides, if it's that easy, you would have done it a long time ago. So the why is what keeps you going. What is your motivation? Motivation, I was told, comes from two Latin words, motivos and Asian, meaning reason to act. I know this sounds coarse, but if somebody puts a gun in your head and say, do this, I guarantee you'll do it. Because you have motivation. The why is very strong. I'll give you a very simple example. My father-in-law smoked for over 60 years. And when I talk about chain smoking, you're talking about get out of bed, cigarette, put it down enough to brush his teeth, and then after that, goes down, put it out for breakfast, eat breakfast, put the cigarette back in, and then go to work. The entire time, you're driving to work, and at work, cigarette. 60 years. The guy quit in one day. I can't take any credit. No healing was done. Would you like to know why he quit or how he quit? It's very simple. In Asian families, there's a tendency to want to have everybody in one household, in one house, under one roof. So they have a big house, and they have 5 children. So what happens is, 2 of the kids have families and live in the same house. Well, when you have kids, you have babies. You know what he said? He literally said, I love these kids so much, these grandchildren, I cannot have their lungs be damaged because of my smoking. With that sheer will, in one day, he quit. Amazing, mind-boggling. The why is what pushes you. So once you have your objective, whatever your objective is, the what, qualified and quantified, give yourself enough reasons. Or Tony Robbins says, how big is your why? The bigger the why, it's not an option, not a hit your target. And then from there comes the thinking process. I know what I want, why I want it. Now, how do I go about doing it? This is called task management. What are the different things, what are the different tasks I need to do to get there? Now, most of us, if we went to school, how do we do it? Okay, this is my target. Now, let me look at the different ways to get there. You notice that? Most of us do. And then, if you start hitting one or two, slight challenges or difficulties, we get discouraged. Because the how came before the why. Sounds familiar? But if the what is no, I gotta hit this. Why? Because there's no other option. I have to hit it. Then what happens? You heard the saying, where there's a will, there's a way. You'll find the way. You just look at a parent who's attending to a sick child. They don't take no for an answer. They'll find a way. So the how is engaging your mental faculty. Now, let me stop you there. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people on the spiritual path. This is what happens. Okay, I want to do this. I'm really motivated. And then, instead of doing the hard work, and I'll tell you it's hard work, to sit down and plan and think, they go, I'll wait for it to be downloaded to me. I'm going, you know what I'm talking about. It's a manifestation of laziness, using spirituality as an excuse. Sounds familiar? How many people have you met I know I got to do this and I'm still waiting for divine inspiration. You forgot that a lot of people who were sent to you to give you some help, and for you to sit there and just wait? You heard the saying, although people claim it's in the Bible, it's not. God helps those who help themselves. It's something like this. Our own initiative is very, very important. Because you do your spiritual work, you do your meditation, you generate good karma, all of that is non-material, intangible. This is the material world. The way we teach this, Master Cho taught it in Kri Shakti, which we now teach. Some of you come to the class, I think it's next month or something. Here's how you work. You work on the inner world. You have to work on the physical world and bridge it. You have to bridge the gap. Translation, you have to create a physical avenue for all your good karma, all your positive thoughts and wishes to move down to the material world. Otherwise, you're just doing, oh, I'm very positive. I'm watching videos to make affirmations, blah, blah, blah. And you sit on your ass, nothing happens. Sounds familiar? You have to create the physical avenue. That's what we always say. First step in winning the lottery is buy ticket. Sounds familiar? So what, why, how, that how involves concretization. What are the actual steps? What are the physical things I need to do? And the most critical part of all, you heard me say this many, many times, you're probably so tired of it. What, why, how, when? Scheduling. Without a schedule, nothing happens. Everything is an idea. You want to ask someone out, you go, oh, I love that person, I'm in love with them, blah, 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 so on, so on. Until you say, I'm going to ask that person out, nothing happens. I mean, think about it. How many times has it been we meet somebody in the street, hey, man, I haven't seen you in so many years, let's do lunch. Here's how you test to see if they're serious. What's your phone number? Hey, how about next weekend? They're not serious. You have children, or you have an organization, you have a leader in a group. You're gonna have people with great ideas. Oh, we can do this, we can do that. Oh, you ask them, okay, great. How about next week? Give me a report. Give me a plan. They can't do it, nothing happens. I remember many years ago, I was in New Mexico, Albuquerque. I was teaching a class, and this lady came up to me, really sweet, really nice lady. You know, there's this land that, I forgot what, I can get that land, and I want to build a spiritual center with Reiki, pranic healing, and she named, 3-4 different healing modalities. It's going to be a place that people can really come in. I want you to be there to help people, blah, 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 blah. I go, great, go for it. And then I said, I'll be back in 3 months to teach the higher classes. Give me a business plan. She goes, what's that? Like a plan. I take it she's not a businesswoman, but she has all these great, okay. Just basically give me a business plan. Okay, what is your budget? What are people involved? Resources, so on, so on. A business plan. He goes, yes, great. 3 months later, I show up. I'm working on it. It's been 20 years. Zilch. See, if you have a business plan, you're forced to have what? Target? What? A schedule? Resources? All those have to be in there, right? Nothing happened. You want to know if your kids are serious about something? Ask them the magic word, when. When? I'm going to clean up my room. When? That usually shocks people. You want to look at people who are successful? Everything has a schedule. And then you have people come in and go, yeah, but that's too stressful. I just go with the flow. How's that done for the last 20 years? How come you're still flowing? I think instead of flowing, you should use the word floating. I know some of you are getting uncomfortable. That's good. That means wake up. That's part of right effort. What? Why? How? When? And last part is just simply implementation or execution. You talk to anybody with an MBA, Master in Business Administration, you just take those questions, elaborate it. That's your Master's of Business Administration. Think about it. It's taught by the Buddha a long time ago. Right effort. Now let's go to right awareness. Right awareness, again, there are many different versions of this, but right awareness is something like this. In order to evolve, we learn from our mistakes. True? Without awareness, we don't realize we made a mistake. And we don't realize we made a mistake, there is no push to change and improve. Or, let's put it another way, When a person has no awareness, it's like a person who's asleep. Until you know you're asleep, there is no push to wake up. I'll give you a few seconds to assimilate that. When a person does not know they're asleep, there's nothing for them to move towards, or there's no impetus, there's no initiative to wake up because they don't know they're asleep. Now, how does that work with our spiritual path? It's very simple. When a person's identity is how their body is going, how their body is doing, how their emotions are, how their thoughts are, and that's the I, they are spiritually asleep. Guaranteed misery and suffering. True? Not true. So that's why there's this teacher many years ago, I think it was Osho who said it. You need someone who's awake to be able to wake up someone who's asleep. Those are your spiritual teachers. So being asleep is basically akin to what? Being asleep to your true nature. So much so, what runs our lives are what is happening with our bodies, our feelings, and our thoughts. Instead of saying, wait, I'm the soul, I will decide what happens to my body, my emotions, and thoughts. I direct them, not them directing me. Now let's put some practical application to this. There are different levels of awareness. Let me just, let me see if I have it here. Okay, 1 second. I want to make sure I give you as much as I can. Okay, there are essentially 5 levels of awareness. You're welcome to take notes. Somehow I can't translate it to the image, so just take notes. So level 0 is zero awareness. We hurt someone, we have no clue we hurt them, so what happens? We continue to do it. We're oblivious. That's level 0. Level 1. After we scream and yell at them or did something bad, later on we go, oh man, I didn't realize I hurt that person. When I said that, it was actually been demeaning and that was a mistake. So level 1 awareness means we woke up after realizing we made a mistake. It's better than 0, but still not good enough. Okay? Now, what's level 1? Level 2. So level 0 is none, oblivious. Level 1 is after the mistake, we go, oh, I'm not going to do that again. There was a mistake. Level 2 is while we're making the mistake, we realize we're making a mistake. How many of you have ever experienced you screaming and yelling at someone, doing something really dumb, and part of you going, what are you doing? And you're going like, I know, but I'll do it anyway. And later on you go, oh, at that time when I was doing it, I already knew it was a mistake. Sounds familiar? So here's the good news. Level 2 awareness, we are able to hopefully catch ourselves and stop further damage. You're screaming and yelling at someone, or you're stealing, or you're doing something really dumb, which you know is bad, and then somewhere before you finish, you go, what am I doing? Okay, this is not who I am. Stop. So that's better than 0. It's better than after. At least you're able to what? Limit the mistake. It's good, but some damage is still being done, right? We still made a mistake. What's better than that, level 3, is before we make the mistake. So before you meet that person, you go, I remember last time we met, oh, I lost control. I screamed and yelled at that person, and I found my fist in his face. Okay. Anyway, I don't have a choice. I have to meet this person. So I'll be very careful. I will make sure that when I'm with this person, I will really think before I speak, before I act. That way, I do not make the mistake anymore. Pretty good. See what I'm saying? Now, for the general public, that's already amazing. But people on the spiritual path, the standard is one step higher. That is, that tendency is not even your system anymore. In other words, when that person's there, you don't have to stop yourself because there's nothing to stop. You go, how is that even possible? I'll give you a very simple example. I remember many years ago, there's this couple. We went to dinner with them, and it's a nice restaurant. And afterwards, we start noticing, hey, the silverware is missing. The nice glass is missing. Later we found out after we left the restaurant, they took it home. Now, most of us, you wouldn't even cross your mind. True? That's what I mean. It's like, it wouldn't even cross your mind to have those thoughts of, hey, let me steal that cup and that glass. Or it wouldn't even cross your mind to go to a store and start stealing apples and oranges and stealing stuff. It wouldn't cross your mind because it's like, no, I wouldn't. So just imagine the tendency that we had before, to do things like being hurtful, to do bad things, to steal, there's a ton of it. Little by little, the tendency is not even there. That comes from spiritual purification. You know why? It's very simple. Because any of those tendencies are essentially data produced by the body, the emotions, and thoughts. They are thought and emotional forms. It's just like a musician using a piano to play music and noise, or noise. The musician is not the piano. The musician is not what's produced by the piano. So those tendencies, the negative tendencies to be injurious, to steal, to be lazy, to be dishonest and deceitful, to be excessive, all those tendencies are like the noise and the music. They're produced by the vehicles. So when we go to spiritual purification, either through spiritual practice or through pain, through the law of karma, those seeds are being extracted. Now, why is this important? You can do it like most people do, the general public. I use the word general public not as a demeaning, but just to say, to kind of differentiate the people who are on the path and awake and proactive on the path, and the ones who are just like, well, let life teach me. So to the general public, usually it comes with what? It comes with learning the mistake after pain. Now, in your case, if you're serious about this, you can extract that tendency before the mistake is made. Translation is like a kid. You tell the kid, hey, don't put your hand on that hot stove. You'll burn. Two types of children. One will say, I don't believe you. Okay, mom's right. That's the general public. Or the smarter one would say, the only reason mom will say that is because she doesn't want me to get hurt. Okay, I'll listen. Sounds oversimplistic? It's not. So when we learn from our teachers, you're basically taking the lessons that they have learned or their teachers have learned and just simply preventing you from having pain. And that could save you lifetimes. So that's right awareness. Now, right awareness also involves memory. What is right memory? Some books on the Eightfold Path talks about right awareness and memory. We'll simplify it. Forget the mistakes that people have done on you as quickly as you can. In other words, forgive and let go. But remember eternally the good things they've done for you. Let's do this again. When somebody's hurt you, forgive and forget as quickly as you can. But the people who have been kind to us, have done good things to us, remember their kindness forever. That is right memory. So the mistakes that we have learned from working with people, we remember it. The good things we've done for people, forget about it. You go, what? I thought I'm supposed to remember those to remind me how good I am. Believe me, as you keep doing the spiritual work, at some point, you're doing it not to be recognized. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. So you don't need to have an inventory. I've done this good, I'm this good. If you have that inventory, you get so focused on it, before you know it, then you have self-significance or negative pride. So part of right awareness and right memory is what? Remember, let me see if I can find it for you. Okay. Okay, here you go. Right memory. Forgive and forget the mistakes of others quickly. Remember others' kindness in gratitude eternally. Let me repeat it to you. Forgive and forget the mistakes of others as quickly as you can. Remember other people's kindness in gratitude eternally. Now, just think about this. If that is our outlook in life, what do you think will happen to your relationships? Think about it. When you have a partner, they mess up, you forgive, it's okay. But when they've done anything good, you make sure to acknowledge it and you remember it. How do you think that person will treat you? They're going to go, did you fall down from heaven? Because society, it goes the other way. How many of you know people, they will remember every mistake you make, and even the slightest mistake, they put a microscope and then what? Make it huge and nag the heck out of you and say, hey, by the way, you messed up. You did that for the last 20 years. You make one mistake, they remember everything. You do something nice for them, you do something good for them, they don't even notice, don't even acknowledge it. How does that feel? Now you flip it around, they mess up, hopefully it's not intentionally, but even if they did, you forgive, let go, settle the matter, don't speak about it again, because if there's true remorse in their voice, they're really, hey, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, okay. But every time they do something right, hey man, that was good. Hey, thank you for doing that for me. I remember last time you did the same thing. When I forgot to bring my phone to something, you remembered and you brought, I would just want to acknowledge it. And they'll say, no, there was something little. No, but I remember those things. How do you think these people will treat you? Right memory. People remember faults rather than people remember the good things we have done. All you got to do is flip it and you'll be a saint. Now, let's finish it off. Oh, that's a long time, huh? Last one is right oneness. Now, this is very, very broad, so I'll just cover a few things. Right oneness comes in many forms. Right oneness means, number one, we realize we're not the body, we're not the emotion, not the thoughts. We are, I am the soul, the spiritual self. You're not the only one who is the soul. So are everyone else we interact with. True? So when we realize that every soul is trying to evolve, what happens within us is we develop compassion. The question is why? Because when you realize I'm the soul that's trying to learn lessons, so are you, so are you, so are you, so are you, it's easier to forgive and let go. And at some point, we start to realize if we're one with each other, then we have to take care of each other. Oneness. And then on the spiritual part, and I'll end with this because of time, this is a little bit esoteric, so just keep an open mind. I remember my teacher was telling one of my colleagues, he said, the planet Earth is actually a planetary being, an energy being, okay? And since it's a being, this being just like us, as above, so below, and et cetera, they also have chakras, energy centers. And the heart chakra of the planet is actually composed of the crown chakras of all beings of the earth. Some of you go, whoa. They put it another way. Just imagine, if you have your Photoshop or your phone or your computer, if you have an image, and when you zoom in, you expand it, you zoom in, you see pixels, right? Okay, just imagine, if you have somebody who could see energy, look at the heart chakra of the planet, and they zoom in, they would say, ooh, that's my brother's crown chakra. That's my sister. That's my friend. That's that person who lives in India. A person who lives in Africa. In other words, the heart chakra of the planet is composed of all the crown chakras of all beings of the earth. when I heard that, I'm going, the implication of that is, if I want to evolve, I want the planet to evolve, not only am I connected to the evolution of the planet, in order to make it happen, I gotta make sure everybody else is also evolving, otherwise I go nowhere. Did you hear what I just said? So, at that point, we start to realize we're one with God, we're one with all. So when we do meditation, Twin Hearts, when we do Great Invocation, may all beings be blessed. May every person, every being blessed. We don't say, may all the people I like be blessed. The rest, screw you. Because whether you like it or not, we're stuck with each other. Our development is tied to their development and vice versa. How's that for oneness for you? That's why in the Buddhist tradition, in the Mahayana tradition, actually in the Tibetan tradition, and I'll just finish with this, there's this, I talked about it 2 nights ago, I think, or in the 7th day, I forgot already. It talks about emptiness, part of the Heart Sutra. Emptiness is not like in the English language where you open up a box, it's empty. Emptiness in the Tibetan tradition means everything, nothing is actually existing by itself. Everything is interconnected with everything else. For example, you have a phone. That phone does not exist independently. It's made up of components, and each of the components was made by someone, by somewhere, right? And as you keep breaking it down, you go all the way to the guy who is mining the metal. That person mining the metal, he's probably the father of a bunch of children. And whether he shows up to work to be able to do that depends on if he's getting paid enough to support his family. Make sense? And then from there, you keep tracing it backwards. It's like whatever that so-called something is, even a concept, it's interconnected with everything else. So that's why in Buddhist tradition, when they say everything is empty, that means everything exists interconnected with everything else. There's no such thing as a house. A house is composed of many different parts, door, wall, window, so on and so on. And each part of it is based on this thing called cause and conditions. There was something that caused it to happen to produce this house. Our perception of the house doesn't mean anything. A house is a place to stay, a place for people to live. It's composed of the people inside. In other words, everything is connected with everything. And because of that, this interconnectedness, we are more than our brother's keeper. From there, emptiness makes us realize oneness with all. And oneness with all leads to compassion because whether you like it or not, we're stuck with everyone. I'm saying it in a bad way, sorry. So proper oneness or right oneness means we realize we're one with all, we're one with the Supreme God, we're one with the universe. And most people, they only realize this whether they're in deep meditation or they've studied with a great teacher or they go out to nature and start to experience that they're one with nature because they're very, very sensitive to energy. That's that. So you have the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. I know it's a short version. I did my best to put in everyday language. That's why in the 7-day purification, the empowerment, we went through at least an hour on each of these and more. Now, Monday, California time, 8 a.m. is when we start the WESAK Festival Meditation. If you're already part of the 7-day purification, you sign up for that, you already have the link there to get into the WESAK Festival Meditation. There's a lecture and a meditation. If you're not, there should be a link. You just go to mexico.org, register. This link that you will get, that it's free, doesn't cost anything. All of you can join. Now, here are a few things I would recommend for you. Number one, if you can, make sure you already write down all your goals and wishes for the rest of the year and more. Because after the meditation, you generate so much energy. Part of the things what we do is we're going to bless the earth, and we also bless all the all the projects that you have. I'm not the one blessing, it's the group. So much energy coming in. Make sense? And then before that, if you want to make the most out of it, okay, it's Monday morning, so Sunday, just have a calm day, calm night, do your meditation. So come during full moon meditation, we meditate together. You don't have a lot of bunch of thoughts and emotions that's bothering you. And the ones who've taken Arhatic Yoga, you already know, we have our Arhatic Yoga review, but if you like on your own, have your feet, when you're doing the meditation, have a bucket, have a basin or a bucket with salt and water. If you like, you can put some tea tree oil, lavender oil, or eucalyptus oil. So during the meditation, as more energy flows through you, a lot of these negative energies get disintegrated. That's that. Okay, just a few things for you. All right, I think I've done my job. I hope you learned something. The purpose of this is not to have the meditation, but just to give you, since the ones who are not able to join us for the 7-day purification, at least you have enough material, hopefully, to really understand the importance of the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, and it transforms you in your life. Okay? Now, I just noticed that on some of the social media, people are too busy typing instead of listening and learning. So anyway, whatever, that's your life. Okay, let's give thanks to the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers, to my teacher, Master Chokoksui Mahagu Jumailing. We thank you for divine light, divine love, guidance, help, healing, protection. We thank you for all your blessings in full faith. So be it. All right. Advanced happy Mother's Day to all of you, which is Sunday, and happy WESAK Festival Meditation. Happy WESAK for Monday. Namaste, and we will see you either Monday morning during WESAK or subsequent Anchor the Lights. Okay.